Going
Live?
live.
We're going live.
We are live. I should try and smile at the beginning because last week my thumbnail I looked very depressed.
Oh, and it
Here's a way to fix
grabs.
it.
Okay, that's cool. Have you had anyone do like an elaborate introduction for you?
No.
Like drum roll, some sort of musical cue? Nothing?
Do you wanna give it a try?
What do you call this show?
Keeping entertained.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeping Entertained with Kelly. First take, it's okay.
That was good. We get
Eh,
some instruments in the background.
hold on, let me have some more special tea.
Okay.
Mm. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. People were very excited to hear you were coming on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when I was thinking about like today, our time together, my mind was racing with all the things that maybe we would talk about. And then as I was coming up with all of these thoughts, and I started ruminating on like, what is it? How's it all going to go? What's going to happen? What you going to ask me about? Is this going to be the end of my career as I know it? I then opted to just go with the flow.
Nice. That's the best option. I
So
hope
what's
that
going on? I feel like now I'm interviewing you. Why did you start this show?
just we were running. There's not much content being created, Ira. So we thought it's best time to share the things that we love now, things we've loved in the past, because there's just not much coming out.
Is this an opportunity to like spread some joy, do some good?
Yeah.
So we shouldn't go dark here. We
Oh,
shouldn't
you
talk.
go dark. Some people like dark.
That's
I
true.
wasn't. I've watched lots of dark stuff during this time. I'm not really bothered by it though. Do you have anything dark you'd like to discuss right off the bat,
Um,
or do you want to start lighter?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
I'll start. I've started a new audiobook that is delightful. It
Okay.
is also brand new, and I
Hmm.
think the library will be getting it. I bought it with an Audible credit, but it's by Colin Jost. It's his memoir.
Cool.
It's new. It's called A Very Punchable Face. And do you know who Colin Jost is?
No.
He's the head writer for Saturday Night Live, and
Ooh.
he's also the host of Weekend Update.
Okay.
And he's also married to Scarlett Johansson, which I feel like is a necessary thing to point out.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about. He's got dark hair. He kind of looks like he could be 17, but he's probably in his late 30s.
Yes, yes, he looks like he's from an LL Bean catalog. He says a
Yeah.
lot, or yeah.
Okay.
So makes fun of himself a lot. It's very funny so far. I would very much recommend it to anybody.
What's it
I didn't
about?
know how it would be.
Is
Hmm?
it a documentary?
No, it's a memoir. Sorry, I'm just listening to it on audiobook, but it's a book,
Okay.
so you can
Okay.
read it. But
Eh,
he reads it himself, so it's nice.
Okay, cool. The audiobook world is fairly foreign to me. I think I've listened to one in my life on a road trip many years ago, and I'm recalling that it may have been The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hmm. Did you like it?
I don't know that I finished it.
I know we have that at the library, but that's a great book series.
What's going on with the library?
It's a good question.
Are
We
you open?
we are restoring services. So you
Okay.
can't come in and sit down because it's just not quite the same. We're not allowed to. It's also very different than it would be with, a restaurant or something where you're just contained to the one spot and then they clean it. So we're trying to work out how to do everything safely. So we're
Hmm.
restoring printing and scanning now. We are trying to help people with more on-demand services that they need. And yeah, you can pick up books, check out books, you can get library cards, you can do kind of all the online stuff.
Hmm.
But browsable sections are not back yet, and working in the library is not back yet.
Hmm. What a time, hey?
I know.
I call it the COVID coaster, and
Well,
I associate it with Space Mountain, the roller coaster at Disneyland that's in the pitch black.
oh,
This version, however, doesn't have the ending built yet.
which is
You know?
comforting when you're on a roller coaster.
Totally, totally. So Suffice to say, I'm not planning too far ahead. I have a confession.
Please go ahead.
When I was a kid, specifically in elementary school, that's when I first started to sort of tap into like some of the challenges I had as a student at school.
Hmm.
I was I thrived at recess that way. You know, me in school, it wasn't a great match in the early days. Most of my learning happened in nature, and when I was confined to the classroom, I was, always looking out the window, wanting to climb trees and go, find wild animals and stuff like that. Anyways, this is all an elaborate build up to that. I never really got into reading when I was a kid. So I haven't read a lot of books. So the library's a sensitive place for me. You know,
Is
it's
it triggering for you? You're a little bit like,
a little bit, but like in a very empowering way because I love the library. I understand what it can do, what it does for our community, what it does for our minds, for our, the art of writing. Like I'm very tapped into elements of it, but picking up an actual book and reading it, that's something that's mostly foreign to me. Like in my life, I may have read less than 30 books, and I'm 42.
it's fine.
I also want to speculate that that number I just said is probably higher than the actual number.
So those books
But
behind you on the shelf are for show?
those are props, they're empty.
It's not even my apartment.
So, okay, but on the flip side, like a really cool thing is that because I haven't read so many books, again, I've read a lot of scripts and through my work as a performing artist, I've worked with words and stories a lot. But the actual physical act of picking up a book and reading it for pleasure or leisure or, adventure, I never really do that. I've done it a handful of times and it's I think very connected to my attention span. Let's just put it that way. It's hard for me to sit down and just like open a book and dive into a book and read. So in my life, because I've read so few books, the few books that I have read are like monumental epics that I managed to like get through and complete. And I was hoping to share a couple of them with you.
Please, I'm very interested in what that you got through.
Okay. Should we start at the beginning?
Yeah, take us on a journey.
I don't have them all here, but this is one of the first books I completed. And it actually started a major journey, like a tangent in my life that I'm still on, and I would surmise is very significant to my spiritual, emotional development. It's this book.
The Four Agreements. I've never read that book. Please tell me about it though, because I know it's very popular and it's constantly being checked out.
So the Four Agreements, essentially, it's a Toltec wisdom book, and the Four Agreements are four agreements you make with yourself. And if you sort of adhere to these four agreements, your life should be better. Your life should be better. I want to try and remember them without diving in. Agreement number one, I'm pretty sure is be impeccable with your word. Be honest. And I think there's more to that, but be impeccable with your word or your words. Always do your best. That's number two. Oh, this is a huge one for me and probably many people listening. Don't take things personally. That's like a mic drop right there. That's a mic drop. And then the fourth agreement is, can I cheat?
Yeah,
It's probably because I don't do this one a lot.
you're already at 75%, which is a pass for like all tests. So you're good.
Oh yeah, this is huge. Kelly, this is huge.
What is it?
Don't make assumptions. It's a game changer. So
That's
when I
one of
read,
our library agreements is kind of like that.
yeah,
But our team agreement is assume good intentions, which I also try and apply
yes,
to life.
yes, assume the best, not the worst.
that people are well intended, but that's a good one. The four agreements.
Four agreements. Probably into my very early 20s when I finally felt like I had some element of control over my own life path. I pursued going to theater school. And it was around that time, probably like 1920. This is now
20.
23 plus years ago. Um, I started exploring my art, and diving into this dream, this vision I had as me of me as a performing artist. And this book was a game changer for me. Again, this is probably like the second or third book I've read in my entire life. I'm being really honest with you. It's something really small, but The War of Art. This sort of introduced me to like a few things. The muse, you know how you talk about the muse, that spirit that ignites an artist's creation,
Yeah.
creative process, whatever. I learned about the muse here, the spirit, if you will, that sort of is part of the creative process. At least I felt connected to that idea.
And it's kind of a play on the art of war.
Yeah,
There.
and it does sort of allude to the struggle that we go through in the creative process. You know, and for me, it's an ass kicker. You know, I struggle to create all the time.
Yeah.
Very, very challenging for me, which is probably why I do it because I'm obsessed with like overcoming, you know, this obstacle of creation.
It's interesting. Have you been doing much creating during this time?
Hmm. When COVID hit, my world, like many people's worlds, in its own way, flipped, and um, initially, what that looked like for me was okay. Now I've lost all these gigs, and I've had to cancel all these things, and I now have time to write my music album that I've been ruminating on since I was probably 12 years old. And so that's been a huge part of the last 4 months for me is trying to like get some songs out of me that are dancing around in my head and write some new melodies. And I'm not a songwriter, so it's especially hard for me to. And I don't know, for one reason or another, it's like the bane of my existence to try to write songs. But
Well,
that's what I've been doing.
that's good though. At least you try because I mean, it could be torture if you have an idea and then you don't do anything about it and you just think about it forever.
The way
That's
you put
worse.
it is so perfectly true. You know, that resonates for me. But think about it this way. It's like double torture because you have the idea, which is torturous, and then you go after it and like the work of like resolving the idea when you don't necessarily have a ton of knowledge and experience, but like your will, your inspiration to do it is so high that like when you don't complete, which I don't, like I'm still working at this thing. It's not done. It's like it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Is just like almost what do you call it? Like it's like an exorcism. I'm exorcising these songs out of me.
Yeah.
That's how difficult it is for me in my process. But
So,
that's what I've been up to.
but so you've been exercising those songs. That's a good way to put it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and totally. It's been very challenging, but also quite liberating just to give myself the time to do a dream of mine.
Great.
Part of um, part of my life has been, it feels like on a level like self-sacrificing for community, which I love, and the kids and families, and like I live for that stuff, sometimes to the detriment of um, my own dream. My other
Someone from the communities told me that they saw you hosted something for the kids, but you had to do it on Zoom, which I can't even imagine how hard that
Yeah,
is too, because you don't have all the kids jumping up and screaming and having their reactions. I
it's like a
mean,
dance party.
you did, and you got it going. Worked well in the end.
Um, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Making the switch onto Zoom, it has been interesting. When COVID first hit, my inner like hustler was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Got to create something virtually. So I really pulled together, and I ended up doing music together. This infant toddler, this parent taught music program for 0 to 4 year olds. I did that, and a bunch of families signed up, and it was like a first for all of us, and it actually was really cool. Um, and then I also transitioned some of my acting classes. I started doing one-on-one acting coachings online, which was again very cool. There was something missing in the not being in person, but then there was also, and I don't know if it's COVID connected, but there was also a heightened sense of urgency to like, let's get to business, let's learn together, let's put it on the line. And the learning was like beyond accelerated for both parties. So way more efficient. So the virtual world, like I can see the possibility in it now. I was petrified of it, but
Yeah.
because, in those early days of COVID in March, I just sort of threw myself in and like basically sacrificed myself to it. Um, I discovered that I could do it, and then when spring sort of came to an end, the what next started showing up for me. Summer planning, and I had made a few commitments. I lost a whole bunch of gigs, and my inner hustler was like, "Okay, Ira, go, like create, build on this. You got this. You got this." And there was a smaller voice. There was a smaller voice inside me, which actually was my like was the voice I needed to listen to, saying, "Ira, stop and do nothing and just like walk and do your own creative projects and just don't do anything."
Do less. Do less.
And I've actually been fighting very hard to try not to do too much lately.
Well, do you have anything that you want to talk about on here that maybe you
Hmm.
want to let people know about?
Like self promotion.
Do you have any self promotion that you'd like to do?
So at the moment, the way that I'm sort of transitioning now, my what I'm inspired by right now, and this is slowly unfolding for me, I want to simplify my work. And part of this is connected to the success I found in dealing with smaller groups, specifically working one on one with people. So right now, I'm actually looking for individuals, whether they're like families or kids or even adults, that want to work with me, either musically or anything performance art based. That's kind of where my heart is right now. I want to just have some deeper connections. Um, and again, I know I kind of sound like I'm knocking the group thing. I think the group thing is great, but right now, what I'm mostly vibing with is creating like a more simplified version of what I do, um, to hone that in, to rein that in, to really bring it back to community, to like get more wholesome, have it not be about the money or being, you know, just being in service to my community in a way, this might be it, in a way that supports the community, but also supports me doing the things that I feel I need to be doing now, which are exercising and resting and eating well and just enjoying my life instead of working to live, you
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
So it's been a journey. Like it's been really challenging to sort of wake up and, for the time being, not necessarily pursue anything or anybody, but
Have you
just
done
a,
what about new hobbies like cooking? You taken on cooking's pop or baking is a very popular one.
so I, are you familiar with this?
Oh, is that one of those like boxed food things?
I've been trying it.
How's that going?
It's really good.
It's really good. I always hear really good things about it. I
So,
feel like it's a good thing and it's good to get you like cooking more stuff. Um,
yeah,
it's something, it definitely takes something away from like some kind of, there's got to be some kind of fundamental skill that you're missing out on when you're like just given like packets of everything, but it sounds so nice too, like,
yeah. Like I can't wrap my head around. Like when I look at this picture, for example, this is called beef Thai green curry with coconut curry sauce. When I look at this picture, I think to myself, okay, that's going to take me a few hours to bring together.
mm-hmm.
Now, if I don't know if you can see, but at the bottom of the recipe card, it says 25 minutes. Okay? And I've done close to 10 of these now. It's pretty accurate. Like
Yeah, because
there's
like shopping too, shopping takes forever. You forget stuff a lot of the time too.
yeah. The one drawback, there's a few. There's a few, if I'm going to be honest. So there's an instant gratification to this in that I get to be kind of like a master chef with some help, with a lot of help actually. But the packaging is a lot, which is it's getting challenging for me to sort of like, I've got a couple boxes now,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm taking it all apart, there's cardboard, which is I feel fine if that's going to be recycled, but then there's other materials in there, like cooling packs, quite a few cooling packs, and there's also like some cardboard that's plastic lined that makes me a little bit anxious about.
But waste, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel so I don't know that this is going to last for me, and that's one of the reasons. The other thing is, on occasion, some of the ingredients that arrive, like I got an avocado once, wasn't so good as part of a recipe.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I could see that. And yeah, waste is that would be a kind of a not ideal thing. I've finally started using a soda stream, which is great because I realized that I drink a freakish amount of soda water.
Oh,
My recycling was getting aggressive. So lowering that carbon footprint. But I think with this thing,
yeah,
you can just learn these things and then you
yes,
can just
yeah,
stop and you'll have that
yeah,
foundation and select signature dishes from Ira.
for sure. So I'm learning about all these recipes and I'm collecting them in a binder, and they're fairly simple. So yeah, I think that may be the next step for me.
Nice. Which
Yeah,
one are you using?
it's called Chef's Plate.
That one's Chef's Plate. I get ads for them a lot. I never know. I
It's
considered during COVID getting one too, because how nice would it be just to have a couple delivered to your door.
yeah.
I never got
And
around to it. One of those things.
and I make them last over a couple days. Like usually they come with a meat, so that will go in the freezer.
Mm.
So it's like a nice little treat of like an exotic meal without having to go out, and the price is kind of decent too.
Yeah.
I don't know about the quality of the ingredients. Like I'm not certain I'm getting organic food with this.
It's not so local, organic.
It is or it isn't.
I don't think it would be.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So there's these like ethical concerns I have. Like I feel like I've buckled a little bit by taking on being a Chef's Plate customer, and I don't think it's going to last. These are like the small little things that are chipping away at my moral compass that I'm still questioning.
Well, there's a lot of time to think now about, I think people should be aware, maybe don't be so hard on yourselves.
It's
Like
true.
every little thing to feel, I do it too, where you feel guilty about lots of stuff. But yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's great. You're learning some stuff. Use it for a little bit, don't use it for the rest of your life.
It's true.
Don't beat yourself up.
Can I change the subject momentarily? I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, what's your opinion on hand sanitizer?
I think it's necessary right now, I guess. So, and I think it's also a lot of the stuff too. I think especially for BC, like mask, hand sanitizer, I like to use it for the peace of mind of the staff of the place that I'm entering, or
Okay.
kind of that thing. Do you think like waste wise? I think also we asked at the library, Suzanne, I think, did some research into it. And if you sully some kind of paper towel or something with sanitizer, it is no longer compostable. So that's
Oh.
just garbage, which isn't ideal. But I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
pretty indifferent about it. I think that COVID's made a lot more waste for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Plastic bags are shooting up, but it is what it is right now. So,
It's
I
so
mean,
difficult, hey?
mhm.
It really
What do you
is.
think about hand sanitizer?
Well, I'm conflicted on many levels because before COVID hit, I mean, it was basically Purell,
Yeah.
odorless, maybe a mild scent, an aloe. There wasn't a ton of variety. Now, everyone and their grandmother is producing hand sanitizer, and it's throwing me for a loop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've 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 gone places and like you hit the pump and you think you're going to get a nice gel, but it's like it's got the viscosity of water and it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Then it's it could be bourbon. You
Oh
don't
God, yeah. We have some at work. Some people really like it, but to me it smells like the bottom of a recycling bin a little bit. But
it's
that's like the more natural one.
yeah. What
So I don't know. I
whenever I approach um, a hand sanitizer that I'm not familiar with nowadays, I'm always like I feel like I'm playing Russian roulette. Like I
yeah.
don't know how it's going to hit me. I'm not sure what the smell is going to be, the texture. Have you run into the hand sanitizer that leaves a stickiness?
Yes.
What's up with that? Who
I
who
don't know.
does that?
I don't know. It's gross, to be honest. I would like to have a request that maybe going forward, when you experience these, you should do some very loud reactions, like maybe a gasp, maybe like a excited shriek,
Ooh,
you know,
great
spice
idea.
up everyone's day.
It's a great idea. Oh, I mean, these are the trials and tribulations of living in a pandemic time.
Yeah.
We have now, we have to negotiate through the myriad of hand sanitizer options out there. I guess it comes with the territory.
Do you have a recommendation of hand sanitizer before we sign off here?
Honestly, I feel like that's the deepest question you've asked me already today.
Mhm.
Um, a brand,
Or you can describe it.
I would lean towards, more. I'm more of a traditionalist. I go wash your hands first, but if you must, seek out the original, the OG, Purell,
I'm in full agreement with you there.
right?
Yeah.
And of course, on a level, we want to support our locals who are producing their own, the local companies that are producing their own. I think we should support them too. But like, not the breweries. What do you call those places that make alcohol?
Distillery.
Distilleries. Yeah, they're doing it right.
Yeah,
I think it's good to support them.
I agree. Just so support distilleries, wash your hands, and like Purell's got a good texture going. That's where
Yeah,
we're at.
yeah, it's fair to say. I mean, I would love to know everyone else's opinion on it. Have you got, if you're out there and you're listening,
You can comment. You can comment
comment.
indeed.
Oh yeah, this was live.
Yes. I don't know. So just let me know if you've got anything you want me to share too, because I have a recommendation page
Oh yeah.
going on the library website. So if you have anything you'd like to promote,
Hmm.
please let me know.
Okay. I will. I mean, at the moment, things like this are lighting up my day. This is pretty much it.
Are you gonna go cook that curry tonight?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
very nice.
25 minutes. Are you kidding me?
Please time it.
Okay.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Well, thanks for coming on, Ira.
You're
That was
welcome.
awesome. Yeah.
thank you for the chat.
What are the
It was
what are the
nice.
four agreements?
What are they? You're asking me?
Yeah, quickly, go.
Man, don't make
I'm just kidding.
assumptions.
I'm kidding.
Be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. Don't make assumptions, and don't take things personally.
Very good. Nice work. Okay, have a good night.
Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.